CNN slams Trump as he feeds koi in Japan, viewers appalled by one detail as camera zooms out. President Donald Trump joined Prime Minister Shinzo Abe to feed the koi at Osaka Palace in Japan, and in CNN's coverage of the event, the outlet slammed our POTUS for his behavior. However, viewers were appalled by one detail as the camera zoomed out, showing what really happened. Instead of delivering fair and balanced coverage of President Donald Trump's historic trip to Asia, the mainstream media has been hard at work portraying our POTUS as a feckless bore, according to the Gateway pundit. The worst culprit in this sickening game appears to be CNN, which has gone so far as to edit video footage in a shameless attempt to smear our Commander-in-Chief. President Trump is currently in the midst of a 13-day overseas trip to Asia, where he and Prime Minister Shinzo Abe took time out to feed the koi fish in Japan. It was a deeply symbolic gesture between the leaders of both countries, as koi fish are very important to the Japanese culture. In Japanese culture, the koi fish is a highly respected and very symbolic animal that is closely tied to the country's national identity. The koi fish is thought to be a symbol of luck, prosperity, and good fortune within Japan. The name koi itself is Japanese. It translates to carp in the English language. But, leave it to the mainstream media to turn the beautiful moment that Trump and Abe fed the koi fish together into an assault on the American president's tact. CNN took their political bias to a whole new level with an article titled "Trump Feeds Fish, Winds Up Pouring Entire Box of Food into Koi Pond." President Donald Trump took a moment out of his whirlwind Japanese trip to connect with nature and feed some fish, but after a few delicate scoops, he resorted to a grand gesture met with some laughter, claims the report. The moment happened as Trump and Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe headed to lunch, it adds. The leaders were escorted to a dining room that overlooks a koi pond at Osaka Palace, continued CNN's version of events. Moments later, aides opened two large screen doors and the leaders emerged holding two small wooden boxes filled with fish food. As an aide clapped loudly, Abe and Trump tossed spoonfuls of fish food into the pond. Then, with a look of enjoyment, Trump quickly poured his entire box of food into the pond, the report went on. The two leaders then sat down for lunch. Of course, CNN came up with edited video footage to match their description of events, hoping to paint the president in a bad light. Now, let's take a look at the unedited version of the footage showing Trump and Abe feeding the koi, shall we? Pay special attention to the very first second so you don't miss what CNN didn't want you to see. Diplomatic relations with Japan have never been better. Trump's current visit with Abe was precluded by the Prime Minister's successful trip to the United States back in February, shortly after Trump's inauguration. During that visit, the president hosted Abe at his luxury Mar-a-Lago resort in Palm Beach, Florida, where the pair were seen golfing and taking in meals together alongside their wives. Indeed, it's difficult to recall the last time a U.S. president was respected to the degree that Donald Trump is on the world stage. Perhaps this is why the mainstream media is working overtime to downplay his successes and paint him as a buffoon with little class. Of course, nothing could be further from the truth. The left was overcome with grief and totally blindsided when Donald Trump took the White House 1 year ago, beating the media's darling Hillary Clinton in a historic victory which none of the mainstream pundits predicted. Apparently, they are still having a hard time coping with that loss so many months later. Sadly, they are willing to insult other world leaders in their quest to trash Trump because, what they didn't realize is, if Trump's behavior was worthy of their criticism, inadvertently, they are saying Japan's prime minister's was as well. Way to go, CNN.